Okay, so in this video, go over the PvE version of the Assault class. In the previous video, it was the PvP version of Assault, and for some classes, this will be the same. It'll be in the same vein. There are some minor adjustments between how each class works in both Operations and Eternal War. Again, if you don't know, Operations is PvE, Eternal War is PvP. To get a better understanding of what changed in Operations, I opted to play the first Ops mission, which is actually the easiest mission regardless of difficulty, in offline mode with 2 AI. And this is actually a neat feature for Space Marine 2 that more co-op focused games should offer. Doesn't matter if you're having internet issues, you can always opt out of it and play in offline mode. I don't know if this includes PvP, as this option has popped up twice for me when I was trying to get into a game, a PvP game, but if it is, then it's even better. So this means regardless of where you are or how your internet is, you'll always be able to have those options besides just doing single player. I'm not sure if the bots are going to be fully randomized between the 5 other classes, though it's more than likely it will. I didn't see an option that would allow me to choose which classes I wanted to bring in for the bots when I had entered the offline lobby. This recording was on the easiest difficulty on the first mission, and the AI seemed to pull their weight better than their campaign counterparts. I would need to play on hard difficulty to determine if they're still able or not. And in this specific mission, the AI gave me, or the game gave me, a bulwark and a sniper. And from what I can see, the sniper in particular didn't have any issues dealing with the horde. Usually sniper-centric classes always have that kind of an issue, but I didn't see it here. Also happy to report that offline mode does not hinder your offline progression, which is a very good thing. So it's able to keep both sides of that coin with in mind, so everyone is able to enjoy the progression as well as unlocking the armor pieces. And then whenever you want to play online, all that carries over. You don't have to reset your progress or anything. It's all there, which is really good. Okay, now on to the PvE version of the Assault class. In Eternal War, your jump pack ability has a very fast cooldown, allowing you to use the class's full potential. However, in Operations, the cooldown's ability is quite long, which frankly leaves me wondering why that was done. The vertical jump is also replaced with the leaping dash attack, so in Eternal War you have a vertical jump, which is what you see also in campaign. But in Operations, you don't get that vertical jump. Instead, you have a very somewhat of an arc leaping dash attack. The long cooldown does mean I have to rely on my pistol a little more until I get into a melee range, and between cooldowns, honestly, Assault pretty much plays like a Bulwark without the shield, and Bulwark and Assault share the same loadout, which is you only get a pistol and a melee weapon. Just the difference, the Bulwark gets a shield. But the Bulwark's loadout does focus on the shield, so you can always have their shield ready. You also can have the shield ready as you're sprinting into a horde, so you're constantly able to deflect attacks from the enemy. Something that the Assault obviously lacks. So when you don't have your jump pack ability ready, you have to dodge your way into a horde or just plink enemies with your bolt pistol. This means you're left open to soaking in more damage than a Bulwark would. But to keep your armor up, and this goes for, it's a universal feature in the game, to keep your armor up when you're in a horde, you can always do a charged melee attack, which is instead when you're performing a melee attack, just hold down the melee button, and you'll do a stun. And it's best to use these on Termagants, which is just the little guys in the horde. That will not only stun them, but it's going to leave them open to what's called a gun strike. And a gun strike acts as an instant execution, quickly restoring an armor segment. killing a Termagant will give you 1 armor segment, whereas killing a mini boss, whether it's a Lictor or a warrior, those will give you 2 armor segments. But you will also have what's known as contested health. And as you see throughout this video, my health will have 2 bars, and this is after I've lost my armor. So there's the red health, or the red bar, and the white bar. The white bar represents health you can potentially get back before it disappears, so you have a limited time to restore that health. To restore it, you just simply attack enemies however you can without taking damage. So the less damage you take, but the more damage you're dealing, the more health you'll get back, so long as you have that white bar to work with. This does make it hard to keep health up when currently in the middle of a horde, but you can unlock perks on your weapons. There is a specific perk on the, I believe it's on the Bulwark, that can increase the amount of contested health you recover. Right now, with the Chainsword, I can actually recover 100% more contested health, but with the Chainsword, I can only recover that 100% when I do a heavy attack or a charged attack. So keep that in mind when creating your loadouts, and you'll quickly find what suits you the best. Assault and Bulwark will need proper finesse as long as you invest time into them, but Assault has to work harder for it, as Bulwark's signature ability offers quick and constant armor and HP regen, which it really is a game changer when in the middle of a horde and you're dealing with multiple warriors and a Lictor and that kind of stuff, so like mini bosses in particular. But I consider Bulwark and Assault to be the hardest classes to use, but Assault trumps Bulwark significantly, just for that sole reason. But the long cooldown in the jump pack really takes away from the potential it offers from Eternal War, and to be honest, it's kind of boring, because the perk tree does offer quite a few interesting unlocks that make it easier to work around the cooldown, such as increased melee charge attacks, better pistol damage. At level 6, you unlock a 10% increase to ground pound, which is the charge you get after doing the leap from your jump pack. At level 22, you unlock 100% damage, or plus 100% damage on the ground pound, as well as an extra 20% extra damage for a fully charged ground pound, and that unlocks at level 16. So you will get more damage in the longer you hold that charge. But as I start looking through the perk tree, that's when I quickly realize just how strong Assault can get, which slowly begins to kind of justify that longer cooldown. But to get there, you do have to put in the time to not only level up your character or your class, but to also have the requisition points. Again, the requisition points is needed to unlock perks on your class, to unlock the perks, or not the perks, to unlock the Artificer, the relics, and the mastercrafted weapons, as well as unlocking all the different Astartes chapters, and getting the emblems, getting the... So yeah, the requisition points for everything, but you would, by the time you reach level 15 or so, you should be plenty stocked on requisitions, because each perk is so far 20 requisition points, and I think that goes the same for, I believe that's actually for everything. So everything current, at my current level, it's 20 requisition points for unlocking new perks on my class. I wouldn't put in the time myself to see how much quicker the jetpack recharges after unlocking the reduced cooldown perks, because there is a cooldown perk for the jump pack that reduces it by 20%. Don't remember which level that is, but at one of the earlier levels, there is a perk that will allow me to do a 10% charge cooldown, but I don't know if that means for the charge on the ground pound, or if that's for, yeah, I think that's for the ground pound. At a higher level, it's for the plus 20% reduced cooldown for the jump pack ability. Now, Assault itself is very difficult to use properly in operations, And as I said, it's probably even harder than Bulwark, because Bulwark is a very melee-focused class as well, but you get a lot of defense with it. It's good defense is or the best defense is a good offense. So that's Bulwark in a nutshell. If you don't pick your battles with the Assault, you will find yourself always being the first player on the team to get downed. And when that happens, you're going to force your teammates to battle through those hordes to revive you. And you got to remember, those hordes at higher difficulties is going to have more warriors, possibly even a Neonthrope, and in some cases a Lictor as well. So you're really going to have to force your teammates to do that. Sometimes you can get around it and get quickly revived if one of your teammates is using the Sniper class, which has a cloaking ability. It instantly breaks instantly breaks kiting on enemies, and also instantly stops them from attacking. So they won't be aggroed, which gives you it gives them some time to get you revived. But that's only if someone on your team is using a sniper. Otherwise, they're really going to have to work to get to you. But if you end up dying, you're going to have to wait a minute for the game to respawn you, and that 1 minute, a lot can happen in 1 minute. So always try and pick those battles. Make full use of the charge on ground pound and use it only on mini bosses. It's pointless to use the jump pack on hordes, just on hordes of termagants. Those things can be killed very easily with either a melee or a ranged weapon. Remember, killing the mini bosses will also kill portions of the horde they're linked to. Anytime you kill a warrior in particular, it's around, from what I can see, it's about 15 to 20 termagants within the horde. They will instantly die after taking out that warrior, so you always want to prioritize the warriors as an assault. I would recommend trying out each class in offline mode on the easiest difficulty, and more than likely on this mission in particular, which is the first mission. On the easiest difficulty, this mission is very easy to get through, even if you don't know how to use your class. But not only to do offline mode to get you familiarized with the class, it will familiarize yourself the best, so that way you're not having your teammates, your player teammates, constantly taking out enemies before you can get to them. The AI will, for the most part, let you deal with some hordes by yourself, but also helps you get rolling on upgrading your class so that you can play on higher difficulties with ease, and you'll also be more proficient with that class. But just remember that when you're playing with other players in operations, you cannot use two of the same class. Everyone has to be a different class, otherwise the game will not let you launch the session. In fact, it's going to tell you someone has to switch classes in order to actually launch the game. This is why it's a good idea to learn every class before moving on to tackle harder enemies. So I just wanted to keep it brief on Assault for PvE. Not much changes besides how the ability works, the cooldown time, and obviously the big change in the playstyle, because you know, in this time around you're dealing with hordes you're dealing with the horde instead of a one-on-one with another player. But hope you learned something, if any of it was new. I'm not sure if I ended up repeating the same things that probably someone else has already said. I'm just giving you my personal experience, or at least I tried my best to. So I'll end it here with just saying, normally, just pick the class that you think looks the coolest. Otherwise, yeah, like, just do offline mode, experiment with the classes, but also you really do need to make sure you're putting in the time. At least get to level 5 with each class. It gives you enough to decide if whether or not it's worth investing in the long run. For me, I mean, Assault, I used to play Assault a lot in the original Space Marine, but it didn't have the perks and all that. So that's all new for Space Marine 2, and it still plays just as it did in Space Marine 1, and that's a good thing. As far as the multiplayer itself, It's actually a good thing that it's pretty basic, although I wish there was more than 3 maps, because right now there's only 3 maps and 3 modes, which is the game's version of a domination, a team deathmatch, and I think the other one is a capture the flag. I've only ever played domination and team deathmatch, but if I remember right, I think the third mode is a capture the flag type of game. So it's a very bare bones multiplayer. The PvE is also pretty bare bones. I mean, you've seen from the gameplay, this is it. It's literally it. The only thing that can change to keep it fresh is just they adding on more PvE missions. For PvP, just adding in more game modes and more maps. I think there is a good enough variety in classes, and there's a good enough sub-variety within each class to allow you to really finesse your playstyle. Like here with the Assault, I really prefer using the Chainsword over the Thunder Hammer or the Gauntlet, the Power Fist. I think the Chainsword is just the most balanced version, but I think the Thunder Hammer helps a little bit better with its cleaving potential, which means it's easier to keep your contested health up, although I haven't seen it myself personally. But the longevity of the game of Space Marine 2, I believe, is going to be just as long, if not longer, than Space Marine 1's was. And Space Marine, the original, still has I mean, it still has an active player base. It's not a large player base, but it's still active for both PvP and the PvE. But the difference that Space Marine 1 has that Space Marine 2 doesn't, as far as the PvE modes, it has a survival mode. Hopefully that makes it into Space Marine 2. And I'm kind of hoping it's something that I've always been thinking about. Maybe Space Marine 2 will eventually see a PvEVP mode where you have the Astra Militarum or the Imperial Guard and Space Marines versus Chaos Forces with, you know, enemy players as a Heretic Astartes. So hopefully that's something. But it's a good groundwork. There's a good canvas here for Space Marine 2. I do believe the game is gonna have a healthy player base. I know that it's eventually going to drop here soon, but hopefully not anytime soon. So it is, if you're still on the fence about Space Marine 2, as far as longevity goes, not replayability, but longevity, this game is going to be around for quite some time. So I think that about wraps it up for this video. Post-editing doinks. So I still have a monotonous voice. I'm still trying to learn how to actually do commentary properly. Until then, if you stick around for these videos long enough, I do appreciate you guys watching. I'm still going to be learning on how to do the commentary stuff. Regardless, if the view count on these videos is 5, doesn't matter. It's just allowing me to learn the platform more. The platform is in editing. And learning the proper commentary. And of course, getting something that isn't my Bluetooth headset. Gonna try and work on that studio mics here soon and get that pop-up filter, have it proper setup. That way these can probably be more entertaining, and I'll work on sounding not as monotonous as I am right now. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and maybe see you on the next video, maybe not. Either way, have a good one.